Okay, I would like to welcome everybody here in this special summit. I'm Nadim Ammar from Israel. I'm from the Druze community in Israel. I'm not Jewish. I want in 2 minutes to talk about my personal experience really in the last year, what about our life. I'm a represent here the beauty of the diversity of the Israeli society. Arabs, Jewish, Muslim, Christian, and Druze living all together, despite what you really hear and see and learn about what's going on in Israel. Let's start really, Shoshana. Yeah, okay. Just really start, let's pray all together. Imams, rabbis, everybody for the release, the hostages, the all hostages, and to end the war in Israel and in the Middle East. I really, for the last 1 year, particularly the last 3-4 months, I live only 15 minutes from the Lebanese border. So for these like 4 months, since September till the ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon, we live in a fear. We live like between siren and bombs and shelter and safe room. But what more important, I'm very, very optimistic. I'm very, very optimistic about the future in Israel, in the Middle East. I'm very optimistic about the future between Israeli and Palestinian. Because really, this war, this vicious war, I think everybody realize, and I live there. I have so many friends, Palestinian, Arabs, and Jewish. Everybody realize there's no alternative. There's no other way. The only way to make a peace between the people. Because the war we saw led to destruction, sadness, and death. I do hope really the Palestinian people will realize, will take the opportunity of making peace with the Israeli, will take the opportunity about the good life in Israel, the economy in Israel. I'm talking about the Palestinians who live in Palestine, to learn from 20% Arab in Israel, where we live together, share everything together, live in prosperity, because this is the topic of our summit. Economy is really the way to peace. Believe it, believe me, I know what I'm talking about. I'm living there, I'm talking to the people. Most of the Palestinian people in the territory really would like to live in peace with Israel. Unfortunately, the leaders in Gaza and Hamas leaders, take the money, deal with terrorists with tunnel, not with a life. Everybody want a life, not want to die. And I'm sure with all these gentlemen, ladies here making peace, imams, I'm sure that we must be optimistic. Last thing, our role, as I came from the Druze community, as I always talk about our faith to respect and tolerance. We are the Druze, we are the bridge, the gap between the Jewish and the Arab. This is the main enemy in Israel. This is the main enemy in the Middle East. People don't know each other. People really have this afraid. So we have to bridge the gap to bring people together, sport, art, everything, this meeting, and I'm really sure that going to happen. I will introduce our first speaker. I really ask everybody to speak about 3 minutes because we have really short time. Our first speaker to introduce Dr. Wafik Mustafa. He's the founder and president of the British Arab Network and author of 3 books about the Middle East. His last books, The New Arab World, including the collapse of Syria, just published last week. I welcome Dr. Wafiq. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nadeem. Really, what you have said, you covered a lot of areas which I visited Israel 2009, 15 years ago, and it changed my mind completely about the region at that time. I want to clear some myth, actually, to start with, which have been circulating over the last year or two about particularly Gaza and about the war, that Gaza is the most congested, overpopulated place in the world. It's not. Gaza population density is less than half that of Cairo or Alexandria or any average city in Egypt, for example. I could imagine other cities as well. About the income, the UNRWA particularly is an indication of how much income you get. The Director General of UNRWA gets about $1 million a year in compensation pay wages yearly, which is about 6 times that of Prime Minister of Britain or Israel or so. That's UNRWA only. And the average executive pay is about £236,000 a year. What I want to say, over the past 6 months, have been dramatic changes in the Middle East. It's no longer the Middle East which you have seen 1922 was created by Churchill and the dissolution of Ottoman Empire. It is the situation now that we have to look pragmatically about the future. The Arab world has been now nearing 600 millions, and talking about AI and other things which I had in the Davos Lodge 10 minutes ago, I think we're really far behind. We're not even reached the computer stage, let alone AI stage. I think we have to look at other things, how we're going to look at Arab League. Is Arab League really needed? It has been the divisive force for the last 75 years. Is the other thing, we need to look at education. Education system is really poor and appalling. I've been educated in Egypt as a teenager, and I know how much anti-Semitism been spread in schoolboys and mosques when I used to go to pray and etc., which I don't do now. The media, the Arab media is cost every year about $14 billion, more than the CNN, BBC, and Sky together, the Arab media cost. Is this fair? It poisoned the Arab mind because there's no parity, no understanding. Even when I went to Israel, I told them, can you interview me? They said, no, we don't want to interview you about Israel. That's an example of one person. I don't want to increase a lot in my talk, but what I want to say, we need reformation in education, in religion, in social understanding of life, to be able to co-op, understand the world as it is, and as well to have democracy, have a good governance, not just chanting and screaming as we've seen in London and the cities in the world. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Wafiq. Our next speaker is Senator Natalia Gauthier. She's senator from the French Parliament and author of the dictionary Financing Terrorism.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nathalie Goulet. I'm a member of the French Senate. I'm very grateful to the organization and to Trent Research to give me the opportunity to give you some line today in this very important meeting with such a lot of knowledgeable people. I quote, the United Nations, US, European Union, Qatar, the World Bank, and other institutions have poured billions of dollars into the Middle East nation and other areas of conflict over the past decades, only to have most of these funds channeled to terrorist organizations which end up in renewed cycle of war and destruction. The focus of my work is on the fighting financing of terrorism and extremism. And let me give you some hint. It's not a philosophy, it's not a sweet dream, it's reality. The reality is that international community is not doing enough to fight financing of terrorism and money laundering. Giving billions to African countries without fighting corruption, without fighting gold trafficking, giving billions to a country without checking and building a strong governance, giving a billion without fighting money laundering, it's hopeless. And do you know that the GDP, the money laundering reached 3% of the GDP, which means more than $2,000 billion each year. 3% of the GDP, money laundering, 3%. Just keep this figure in mind. And I'm very pessimistic for peace and security. Human trafficking, this year, more than 50 million people are victims of human trafficking, which read gross revenue of 150 billion, including 7 billion for migrant trafficking. And you know that the migrant issue is giving us a hard time in our society, and it's a real issue, and with political consequences. Piracy, misuse of cryptocurrency. You are in Davos today. Nobody will want to regulate cryptocurrency. And at the same time, Iran is using cryptocurrency to support the three devilish H of Middle East, Hamas, Hezbollah, and Houthi. But nobody wants to regulate cryptocurrency. So on one hand, you will develop the cryptocurrency, and on the other hand, you want to try to fight financing of terrorism, which will be very difficult to do both at the same time. It's realpolitik. And so we are very happy to have United Arab Emirates in the picture with a strong governance, a strong politic against extremism, a strong policy against the Muslim Brotherhood. This organization is nowadays completely spoiling our European society, pushing extremism and pushing separatism. So we have to work together, and especially with the great team of Trent Research. I'm so proud to be part of the family. Money makes the world go round, but money laundering makes the world very insecure and very dangerous for us and for our children. I hope I was not too much out of topic. Have a great day, and I hope to see you soon in Paris or in Abu Dhabi. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Dr. Muhammad Abdullah Ilali, CEO, Trends Advisory and Research, United Arab Emirates. Hopefully, we see you and your organization next year in Israel. We have an art festival between Arab and Palestinian. I do really hope to see you there, taking part with your organization. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I speak in Arabic, sorry. Okay. أيها الحضور الكريم، بداية أود أن أعبر عن خالص سعادتي بوجود in English here and the screen please. Yes. بداية أود أن أعبر عن سعادتي بوجودي بينكم اليوم في هذه الحلقة النقاشية التي نعقدها في دافوس على هامش أهم منتدى اقتصادي في العالم، وهو منتدى دافوس الاقتصادي العالمي، وهي المرة الثانية على التوالي التي يشارك فيها ترندز في نشاطات بحثية ضمن الأنشطة المصاحبة لهذا المنتدى. موضوع هذه الحلقة النقاشية بالغ الأهمية، ولا سيما في ظل ما شاهدناه ونشهده من صراعات متفاقمة في العديد من مناطق العالم، وفي القلب منها منطقة الشرق الأوسط، التي شهدت وتيرة الصراعات فيها حدا غير مسبوق خلال السنوات الأخيرة. وحتى نفهم أهمية اقتصاديات السلام يجب أن ندرك خطورة التأثيرات الاقتصادية الناجمة عن أعمال العنف والصراعات المسلحة، حيث تتضمن عواقب العنف تكاليف مباشرة وغير مباشرة تؤدي إلى تآكل التنمية الاقتصادية، وأيضا زيادة عدم الاستقرار وزيادة عدم المساواة وتآكل رأس المال البشري. في هذا السياق أظهرت استطلاعات الرأي الذي أجراها المنتدى الاقتصادي العالمي في 18 يناير 2025 أن الصراعات المسلحة هي أكبر خطر على النمو الاقتصادي في عام 2025. يمكن أن نعطي بعض المؤشرات التي توضح حقيقة هذه النتيجة اللي ظهرت. خلال عام 2024 انخرطت أكثر من 50 دولة في صراعات نشطة بزيادة بلغت نسبة 25% من العنف السياسي على مستوى العالم، وهو ما تسبب في فرض مزيد من الأعباء الاقتصادية على الاقتصاد العالمي، ومن بينها معاناة ما يقارب أكثر من 700 مليون شخص من فقر مدقع، أي ما يشكل 8.5% من سكان العالم. وصل التضخم العالمي إلى نحو 5.8% نتيجة لاستمرار الاضطرابات في الصادرات الزراعية عبر سلاسل التوريد العالمية. وأيضا تسببت الصراعات في تعثر خطوط وشبكات التجارة العالمية. ارتفاع سعر النفط بنحو 4.5%، وأيضا ارتفاع أسعار الغاز الطبيعي بمعدلات قياسية بلغت 64% خلال عام 2024. في أكبر صراعين يشهدهما العالم حاليا، انكمش الناتج المحلي في أوكرانيا بنسبة 29%، متأثرا بحرب مستمرة منذ عام 2022. كما أسفر الصراع في غزة عن خسائر تقدر بأكثر من 4 مليارات دولار. وفي لبنان أيضا انكمش الناتج المحلي الإجمالي بنحو 5.7% في عام 2024 مقارنة بتقديرات النمو قبل الحرب البالغة 0.09%. وذكرت بعض الدراسات أنه كان من الممكن أن يكون الناتج المحلي الإجمالي العالمي أعلى بنسبة 12% من المتوسط لو لم يكن هناك أي صراع عنيف منذ عام 1970. أكتفي بهذا القدر. شكرا جزيلا لحسن استماعكم.
Thank you. شكرا. تضاربا. Our next speaker, Imam Muhammad Tawhidi, Vice President of the Global Imams Council. I welcome you.
Thank you. Absolute honor to be here today. Can I just begin by respectfully disagreeing with the fellow panelist that was seated just over here with regards to the strong statements he made about Arab states and Arab media. I think it's very important for us to distinguish between the extremist Islamists, their media, and the media that is actually doing all the good work in raising awareness, promoting the Abraham Accords, promoting coexistence and harmony. One excellent example is the pioneering historical newspaper editor seated next to me of Al-Ittihad, the Federation of the UAE, that basically is the mouthpiece of harmony and coexistence. And to suggest that Arab media is all Al Jazeera, or to imply, is wrong. That's number one. I'm not saying that that was stated, but insinuation of that sort is inaccurate. Secondly, I think I'm talking about you. Secondly, I think the Arab League is very necessary, and I don't think the abolishing of the Arab League is good for humanity. This is what keeps the Gulf safe, at least from the Muslim Brotherhood. We need a united front for our countries in the Middle East to face the threat of the Muslim Brotherhood that we saw sweep the region in the so-called Arab Spring. That is the position of those who live in the Gulf. And the Arab League, no one is saying it's perfect. No one says it's perfect. but there is a reason why states that push for the Abraham Accords are still members and advocate for it. There's always room for improvement, but to abolish it and leave the region open for the Muslim Brotherhood and their likes is wrong. That's my opinion. Now, with regards to the actual topic that we should have been discussing, the economics of peace, there are two realities here. The first is that the economics of peace is on paper, and we rarely see it. We're not seeing budgets for peace, where countries actually designate a budget that is allocated for peace universities, for peace curriculums. That is usually the advocacy of civil society organizations, which is good, but there should be budgets for peace. The only country that is actually putting forward budgets for peace is the UAE. I don't know of a ministry of tolerance outside the UAE. Therefore, that should be respected, and it's a model that should be replicated in other countries. Ministry of Happiness, Ministry of Tolerance. It's very hard to imagine a country that is pushing forward such peaceful curriculums and peaceful initiatives to be promoting extremism, which is why there is zero terrorists and zero extremist cells in the UAE and in Bahrain. And that's why we don't have a terrorist problem in Morocco, in Saudi Arabia. We don't have these terrorist cells. We have them in countries where the Muslim Brotherhood exists. Countries without the Muslim Brotherhood live in peace. That's the first reality. The second reality is, while the economics of peace rarely exists outside the UAE, what does exist is the economics of war, the economics of terrorism. Countries with oil fields funding terrorist narratives, Hizb ut-Tahrir, the Muslim Brotherhood, the Ikhwan, you name it. And therefore, the economics of peace doesn't just give you a peaceful society, it allows you to thrive in a region that is rapidly moving and is changing, not just religiously, but also when you look at the caliber of leadership that we currently have in the Middle East, and how the mentality was always ahead of the people. Meaning, when the rulers in the Gulf said, okay, time for Abraham Accords, everyone said yes. The Holy Quran was not changed or altered, and no religious scripture was banned. What was banned were the independent, authored books by the extremists. It began with Saudi Arabia. It didn't have to begin with the UAE because there were no Muslim Brotherhood curriculum books being taught in the universities anyway. I'm going to wrap up.
Yeah, thank
Spoke
you.
longer than me. What are you talking about? But
Thank you.
bottom line is this. To get to the economics of peace, we need to be realistic. And I don't think we're being realistic if we are destroying those who are actually trying or propagating narratives against those who are doing their best, while allowing the extremists to operate without criticism. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Imam Tawhidi. Our next speaker, Dr. Hamad El-Kaabi. Hamad El-Kaabi, CEO of the Al-Ittihad News. Al-Ittihad News. Welcome. Thank you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الورقة اليوم بتكون باللغة العربية عن اقتصاديات السلام في الشرق الأوسط والساحة العالمية. تكلمت في هالورقة عن النزاعات الراهنة سواء في منطقة الشرق الأوسط أو على الصعيد العالمي. هي بلا شك العائق أمام أي تنمية اقتصادية واستقرار. وهي أيضا هاي النزاعات تحرم الشعوب من فرصة النمو المستدام. وتشتت الجهود بعيدا عن الأهداف التنموية التي تنشد الازدهار من خلال الارتقاء بجودة الحياة واستثمار الطفرة التقنية في المجالات كافة. وحدها الدول المستقرة هي قادرة على تحقيق التنمية المستدامة لشعوبها، وأيضا هي المؤهلة للتواصل الإيجابي مع جوارها الجغرافي التي تملك أدوات لتعزيز سياسات التعاون مع العالم من خلال الشراكات الاقتصادية الشاملة والاستراتيجية لتحقق مبدأ رابح رابح. وبلغة الأرقام هناك أكثر من 60 صراع مسلح مشتعل في عام 2023، وهو الأعلى رقم تم تسجيله على الإطلاق. ارتفعت الوفيات المدنية بأكثر من 30% بين عامين 2023 و 2024، ويرجع ذلك كله إلى تصاعد الصراعات المسلحة في الشرق الأوسط. وحسب معهد الاقتصاد والسلام ومقره في مدينة سيدني الأسترالية، فإن التأثير الاقتصادي العالمي للعنف في عام 2023 فقط كان 19.1 تريليون، أو ما يعادل 2380 دولار يتكبدها الشخص الواحد. هذا يعني أن العالم لا يزال في أمس الحاجة لتصفير كل النزاعات، خاصة في منطقة الشرق الأوسط وشمال أفريقيا وشرق أوروبا. فمن دون نزع فتيل هذه النزاعات وطي الخلافات يتعذر الانتصار للتنمية وصالح الشعوب وحقوق الأجيال الصاعدة في حياة أفضل. النزاعات المتواصلة تسفر حتما عن خسائر جسيمة تحرم الشعوب من التنمية، أو بالأحرى من المزيد من الفرص التنموية الضائعة. وأغرب مثال على ذلك حرب غزة الأخيرة، تشير التقديرات إلى خسائرها المباشرة التي تزيد أكثر عن 35 مليار دولار، إضافة إلى تكلفة إعادة الإعمار تقدر تقريبا ب80 مليار دولار، وعبء 40 مليون طن من الركام تستغرق عملية إزالتها أكثر حسب الأمم المتحدة أكثر من 15 عام، وتتطلب تمويل يقدر ب1 مليار دولار. اقتصاد السلام يؤكد الترابط القوي بين السلام وبناء اقتصاد مزدهر يضمن حياة نوعية في السلام الإقليمي ثم السلام العالمي، ويضمن أيضا استقرار ويوفر بيئة خصبة للاستثمار الحكومات أو الشركات أو الأفراد، ويحفز النمو ويكبح الفقر، ويضمن تطوير البنية التحتية والخدمات العامة بما فيها التعليم. الأكاديمي الهولندي جان تيرمج الحائز على جائزة نوبل في الاقتصاد عام 1969 ومؤسس منظمة اقتصاد يوم من أجل السلام والأمن، يعرف اقتصاد السلام بأنه اقتصاد الذي يحضر الحرب كأداة لتسوية النزاعات بين الدول، وأن يتم تنظيم العالم بطريقة تتم من خلالها معاقبة الحرب، ومن خلال منظمة تأسست عام 1989 يدعو إلى تعزيز الحلول غير العسكرية للتحديات العالمية. أيضا في اقتصاد السلام ينطلق من أوطان مستقرة ونضج وعيها الاستراتيجي، بحيث تدرك أهمية بناء مؤسسات قوية تستشرف عبر الاستثمار المباشر في البشر من خلال طفرة التعليم والتدريب والرعاية الصحية وزيادة القدرة الإنتاجية في كافة القطاعات، وفي الوقت نفسه تستطيع تشجيع التعاون الإقليمي برؤى تقوم على التكامل لا على الصراع، وتنطلق من إدراك التحديات المشتركة، وهي التحديات الإرهاب، الجريمة المنظمة، والأمن الغذائي، والتغيير المناخي، وسلاسل التوريد، وأمن الممرات البحرية، وأمن الطاقة، ومكافحة الأوبئة. وإذا كانت النزاعات أكبر عائق للتنمية، فهناك عدة خطوات يمكن أن نستغلها حتى سأسترسل بها سريعا لوقتكم، وهي المبادرات الإنسانية الكبرى والمرتكزة على القيم المشتركة، تسوية النزاعات بالطرق السلمية، تحفيز التعاون الإقليمي بطريقة تضمن استثمار نقاط التمييز في المزايا النسبية. وأيضا هناك الكثير من على سبيل المثال إطلاق شراكات إقليمية لمواجهة التحديات المشتركة. وشكرا لكم.
Okay, thank you. شكرا Dr. Hamid Al-Khatib. Yeah, our next speaker video address Member of Parliament Nancy Kaduri. She's member of the Parliament of Bahrain.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to be part of this international forum, an important platform for global dialogue and collaboration. The importance of this prestigious forum cannot be overstated, as it helps to bring different leaders and various stakeholders from around the world to stress different global economic challenges and increase cooperation between nations and states. I feel proud to share with you all as to how my country, the Kingdom of Bahrain, helps to build the seeds of peace under the wise leadership of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, long live his reign. The Kingdom of Bahrain stands firmly committed to His Majesty's noble vision, especially within the Middle East, to increase collaboration in various fields for sustainable economic growth. building on our long history of religious freedom and peaceful coexistence. This royal vision explains our diverse society, which promotes peace and principles of respect and mutual understanding, to help strengthen deep partnerships with nations around the world. In this perspective, the government of Bahrain, led by His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, Crown Prince and Prime Minister, has implemented programs that are aligned with sustainable development goals, which help to strengthen this commitment to build strategic international partnerships, which explains Bahrain's role in advancing global peace through diplomacy and open dialogue. The Kingdom of Bahrain believes that intercultural and interfaith dialogue fosters harmony. Through this principle, the King Hamad Global Center for Peaceful Coexistence emphasizes the crucial role of education and training in building bridges between communities, thereby paving the way for achieving sustainable and comprehensive collaboration in a peaceful environment. Moreover, Bahrain's approach for peace, as promoted by its wise leadership, has always focused on advancing societies through dialogue and coexistence, illustrating Bahrain's commitment to being a homeland and a hub for cultural convergence. This commitment is exemplified through our Memorandum of Understanding with the United States on combating anti-Semitism, and this agreement stated that the two countries will fight all forms of anti-Semitism within the Middle East and beyond. Building on this foundation, we have further strengthened ties through signing the Comprehensive Security, Integration and Prosperity Agreement with the US administration to enhance cooperation across a wide range of areas, from defense and security to emerging technology, trade and investment. The Kingdom of Bahrain proudly took part in the pivotal and historic moment in our region by signing the Abraham Accords. By this agreement, we have implemented the Accords by establishing diplomatic relations, opening embassies, holding our commitment to this new chapter in the region. This agreement has opened a new chapter of cooperation with the State of Israel in economic fields, including promoting trade and investment agreements, cultural exchange, tourism, technological opportunities, finance and renewable energy, and much more. In addition to these fields of cooperation, the Kingdom of Bahrain believes in fostering people-to-people connection. Therefore, the government encourages academic and cultural exchanges, as well as opening up the travel airlines between our countries, which will reflect on building strong, peaceful relationships. This peaceful cooperation will strategically attract investment opportunities to the region for sustainable development. We believe that there are ongoing challenges in the region, such as the importance of facing the regional security threats, including terrorism and extremism, which needs huge cooperation from all countries within the Middle East and beyond. In this context, it is essential for all countries to work together, sharing resources, intelligence, and strategies, because terrorism knows no borders. In addition to this, it is important for local communities to engage in countering radicalization by promoting education and economic opportunities, such as the scholarship programs that are provided by the King Hamad Global Center for Peaceful Coexistence, for the postgraduate diploma on peaceful coexistence, which has been designed to provide the knowledge and skills necessary to engage in contexts related to peace and conflict studies. Looking ahead, there are huge steps towards establishing a more powerful region, such as economic integration, technological advancement, and promoting the culture of peace and coexistence through the Middle East, because these strategies these strategic agreements can be a model for collaboration and promoting dialogue, providing that collaboration is possible in the face of adversity. In conclusion, Bahrain believes that dialogue between cultures and religion advances peace, and this will help achieve a more peaceful and prosperous Middle East. And I am confident that the region has the will to overcome whatever challenges come by investing in opportunities presented by these historic agreements. Together, we can draw a future painted by cooperation, success, and peace. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you. I would like to welcome our next speaker, Mr. Alan Mitchell, Director of the Equilibrate Solidarity and founder of the Dialogues of the Avram Faith. And he really brought 100 of imams and rabbis over the past decades. I welcome you, Mr. Mitchell. Thank you.
Bonjour. Alors, je voudrais dire d'abord que j'ai connu Shoshana Beckerman à l'occasion du premier congrès mondial des imams et rabbins pour la paix. Ah. Bon. I'm sorry because I don't speak English. I'm very sorry. Ah, je recommence, c'est ça? Alors, je disais que j'avais connu Shoshana Beckerman à l'occasion du premier congrès mondial des imams et rabbins pour la paix qui a été organisé en 2004 à Bruxelles. Ce congrès, qui avait été considéré comme totalement utopique et impossible, avait quand même réuni plus de 160 imams et rabbins. Ils étaient venus de 34 pays et 32 spécialistes et observateurs les avaient accompagnés. Ce congrès a eu le principal mérite de renouer le dialogue entre l'islam et le judaïsme qui était arrêté depuis 1948 en fait. Ces rencontres ont été suivies par d'autres congrès mondiaux à Séville, à l'UNESCO à Paris, et ils ont été parrainés par les rois de Belgique, d'Espagne, du Maroc, par le président du Sénégal, etc., et soutenus non seulement par de nombreuses fondations importantes, mais aussi par le Qatar, l'Arabie saoudite, le Bahreïn, le Danemark, la Norvège, etc. C'est donc grâce à ces congrès et à 20 années de travail pour le dialogue judéo-musulman, pour lesquels nous avons véritablement été pionniers durant tant d'années, que je suis ici aujourd'hui, et non par hasard. Bien que le mot hasard puisse se traduire en arabe et en hébreu par la main de Dieu. Et je suis heureux d'être ici, je remercie Shoshana. Je vous remercie tous de m'écouter, car je suis persuadé que nous pouvons, je pense même que nous devons, faire un bout de route ensemble sur ce chemin qui permettra de reconstruire l'espoir, si totalement absent aujourd'hui pour tant de populations du Moyen-Orient. Je n'ai jamais parlé de moi, jamais aimé ça, mais il m'a été demandé de vous dire que depuis 40 années, j'ai acquis la certitude que la principale source de tous les désordres de l'humanité, que ce soit les guerres, toutes les souffrances, l'injustice, le dérèglement climatique, etc., que tout ont comme origine, la première cause, c'est l'absence de fraternité. C'est pourquoi cette obsession de solidarité m'a fait cofonder l'association humanitaire Équilibre, qui depuis 1984 a agi dans de nombreux pays en conflit, et on a employé, selon les époques, jusqu'à 5700 salariés dans 21 pays. Irak, Palestine, Rwanda, Liban, Pologne, etc. Aujourd'hui, je désire vous proposer de participer aux actions que nous mettons en place et participer concrètement à la reconstruction de cet espoir disparu au Moyen-Orient. Pour cela, nous avons une base logistique en France. C'est une école humanitaire de terrain pour les jeunes qui veulent donner un sens à leur vie par le service. Elle permettra de mettre en place et de réaliser de nombreuses actions humanitaires destinées aujourd'hui aux enfants de Gaza et leurs mères, bien sûr. Et nous savons que ces enfants ont besoin en priorité de s'extraire, autant que faire se peut, de la souffrance, de la terreur qu'ils ont vécue et qu'ils garderont longtemps en mémoire. Nous leur proposerons, comme nous l'avons déjà fait en 2003, c'est un exemple, pour 10 000 d'entre eux, de les mettre en relation avec les enfants européens par le biais de courriers, de dessins, de liens divers, d'accueil, de musique, de théâtre, etc. Mais il est difficile en 3 minutes de vous donner toutes les informations qui correspondent aux différentes actions que nous pouvons mettre en place. Avec cette école, nous avons aussi la possibilité de construire des centres de réhabilitation psychologique avec le personnel nécessaire. C'est pourquoi nous organisons du 21 au 25 juillet, et c'est très important, dans le grand centre de la Fondation de Caux en Suisse, le 5e congrès mondial pour la paix. Congrès, ce n'est pas un congrès de discussion, de parole, mais c'est vraiment un congrès d'action. Il réunira 160 intervenants de qualité venant du monde de la culture, de l'art, de la médiation, de l'entreprise, de la religion, etc., pour que durant ces 4 jours, tous déterminent ensemble des actions concrètes et réalistes immédiatement, opérationnelles, mais avec l'objectif, bien sûr, de durer dans le temps. Je ne peux ici vous donner plus de détails sur le bien fondé et le réalisme de ce congrès, mais j'ai à votre disposition une petite plaquette de présentation, celle-ci, que j'aurai plaisir à vous remettre si vous le souhaitez, car je serai bien sûr heureux de vous inviter à participer à cette rencontre. Nous savons que la paix ne se construira jamais sur la violence, la haine ou la vengeance, mais sur cette 3e voie qui est celle de la fraternité. C'est l'unique moyen pour parvenir à construire des sociétés pacifiques, seule stratégie d'éducation pour la culture de paix. Nous savons tous, puisque vous êtes ici, qu'un souffle nouveau est possible, mais que c'est ensemble, et tous ensemble, que nous y parviendrons. Merci à vous. Et on est 3 ici à votre disposition pour en parler, si vous le souhaitez.
Thank you, Mr. Alan Mitchell. Yeah, thank you. We have another 2 speakers, hopefully to speak shortly, and then Shoshana Bickerman will conclude this session. Sorry. Okay. Our next speaker is the member of the European Parliament, Lopez White, and she's the member of the Foreign Affairs Committee via video address.
Good afternoon from the European Parliament in Strasbourg. I would like to thank the Interparliamentary Coalition for Global Ethics and specifically Mrs. Shoshana Beckerman for the kind invitation to send a video message to the participants in this event. I have been almost 2 years that I have been participating in these activities organized by this organization because I am fully convinced that we need to do more to support a culture of peace in the Middle East, which is a fundamental step to contain those who will keep doing all they can to promote violence and hatred in the region. As you know, last Sunday, the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas entered into force, and the first Israeli hostages were allowed to return to their families. This is a great achievement because our biggest wish and priority was always the liberation of the hostages held captive by the terrorists in Gaza and the alleviation, of course, of the challenging situation faced by the civil population in Gaza. While this ceasefire is very welcome and has the potential to become the stepping stone for a durable peace in the region, we know that this will not be achieved as long as the Iranian regime is allowed to operate freely, financing their terrorist proxy groups in Gaza, in Iran, in Iraq, in Syria, and in Yemen. Those who still believe that we should negotiate some sort of new JCPOA with Iran should wake up. The Iranian regime has absolutely no interest in becoming less belligerent. It is a brutal dictatorship that sends weapons to Russia, that will be used against the Ukrainian civil population, that finances terrorist proxies all over the Middle East, that plans and executes assassination operations against its critics all over the world, that persecutes women and religious minorities, that supports the dictatorships in Venezuela, Nicaragua, and is increasing its economic presence in these and other countries. Whereas Hamas and Hezbollah are much more weakened today than they were 15 months ago, and whereas the end of the Assad regime is also a positive step towards achieving peace in the region, Iran will not stop. In this context, it is fundamental that we return to the spirit of the Abraham Accords, interrupted by the despicable 7th of October attacks. It is only by strengthening the ties and the trust among the Arab nations and Israel that we will be able to neutralize the Iranian threat and build the basis for an enduring peace in the region. To achieve this, we need to foster a culture of peace in the Middle East. Children in Gaza and in the West Bank should not be taught to hate their Israeli neighbors. UN humanitarian workers in Gaza should not conceive to cooperate in the execution of terrorist attacks. We need realistic, monitored efforts to assure the de-radicalization and mandatory education for the culture of peace in the region. Our funding needs to be tied to those conditions, and we need to find better ways to guarantee compliance. Moreover, as we are talking about the economics of peace, diplomatic efforts should be made to increase economic and social exchange amongst Israel and Arab nations. Increasing interdependence. European history tells us that previous enemies can overcome their conflictive past and build a future of peace and cooperation by increasing their economic interdependence. We should help our Israeli and Palestinian friends to achieve that. However, it is also essential that the prosperity that comes from these strengthened ties be channeled to support the development of the Palestinian people. As long as Palestinians in Gaza and in the West Bank cannot see a future of prosperity for the next generations, they will remain susceptible to Hamas and other unacceptable.
Okay, you'll have to excuse this situation. We were told today that our original time slot, 3 o'clock, was changed to 2, so we had a little bit of a technical issue. Our two last speakers was supposed to be Sergio Kopliovic. He would speak about the program that we had with the youth. Excuse me, let me just finish because we changed the slot. So we have an exhibit in the Abraham House next door of this major program that we have. I just want to thank Ms. Irina Vantakari for the opportunity to present this program. And our last speaker was supposed to be Sir Liam Fox, was the UK director of the Abraham Accords Institute. So we'll put it online. You can look it for our website, www.ipcge36.org. Thank you very much. Thank you.